the attractive distractor that's over here.
Hey, no, that's good. That's good. That's what this is all about.
I know you don't remember me. I was at ECI when you used to come in and we said that he was really harmless. Me and Gordon Patrick.
Got out fast.
I was just released 90 days ago on a juvenile record. After doing 30 years in PG County. I was the first one in PG County to release. Yes. Yes. And that doesn't tell you who's a real good friend of mine. Are you just getting it on?
No, I mean, this is what it's all about, right?
I really appreciate y'all.
I got it.
I'm not a Baltimore citizen. I love the
Zai?
I just supervise it. So they're gonna go and let the families down.
Yes. Okay. We'll be right with you guys.
Can you guys take one step back? Just one step back. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Get off my camera.
So we'll start again, guys, all right? Good afternoon, everyone. God is good. Since the inception of my administration, I've made it clear that the sole mission of my office is to safeguard communities in Baltimore through the effective prosecution of crime. And in order to fulfill this mission, our prosecutors have been sworn to not only aggressively advocate on behalf of victims of crime, but when the evidence exists, to exonerate those that have been falsely accused or convicted. The public has to know that justice is the only barometer of success for my office, and justice over convictions is not only our mantra, but our mission. And since the start of the administration, my office has paid this mission forward, which is why we created the first conviction integrity unit in the entire state of Maryland, a unit dedicated to reinvestigating claims of actual innocence, a unit that is now a national model replicated throughout the country and the state, and has already successfully exonerated 12 innocent men who cumulatively served 300 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. Justice over convictions is ultimately the reason why my office created in December of 2020 a sentencing review unit where my prosecutors review and modify the excessive sentences of juvenile lifers in the elderly prison population to ensure racial equity in a state that disproportionately incarcerates more black and brown people than any other state in the nation. This unit, which is only the second in the state of Maryland to exist, is headed by former Deputy Public Defender of Maryland, Becky Feldman. We've already modified and recommended the release of over 40 individuals, none of whom have reoffended since the inception of the unit. My sentencing review unit is responsible for the year-long collaborative investigation into this case, and today's motion to vacate the conviction of Adnan Syed. The vacatur statute, which was drafted, lobbied, testified to in Annapolis by my office, despite the opposition of almost every one of my colleagues across the state, with the exception of Aisha Braveboy, this vacatur statute is responsible for today's outcome. As we are all aware, Adnan Syed stood trial twice for the homicide of 17-year-old Hayman Lee. A jury in 2000 found him guilty of premeditated murder, kidnapping, robbery, and false imprisonment, and the judge sentenced him to life plus 30 years in prison. Syed ultimately appealed that decision again and again. For the past 7 years, my office provided permission for the original and appellate jurisdiction over the case to the Attorney General's office under the direction of Brian Frosh, where, as all you guys are all aware, both trial judges and appellate courts denied Syed's post-conviction motions. In 2018, Maryland's Court of Special Appeals determined Syed was entitled to a new trial, only for the state's top court to overrule that opinion the following year. And then finally, appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court, the review was declined in 2019. The way that it happened this time, in 2021, Syed's attorneys, Erica Suter, who you will hear from momentarily, from the Office of the Public Defender, appealed to my office and brought the case to the attention of Becky Feldman in my sentencing review unit after the Juvenile Restoration Act passed in April of 2021. This act allows people convicted of crimes as juveniles to request a modification of sentence after they have served more than 20 years incarceration. Mr. Syed qualified because he spent more than 22 years. Becky Feldman subsequently led nearly a year-long exhaustive investigation reviewing the substantive facts of this case, where several problematic issues were presented, and thereafter leading my office to file a motion to vacate the conviction of Adnan Syed. Vacatur, as we all have learned today, is a legal mechanism that once again was drafted, lobbied, testified to, and was integral in ensuring that my office was integral in ensuring that it passed, which provides prosecutors with a legal mechanism for the removal of a conviction based off of newly discovered evidence that calls into question the integrity of a conviction based on the interests of fairness and justice. Through our review, our reinvestigation revealed that the original prosecutors and the subsequent prosecutors in the Attorney General's office failed to disclose relevant information about alternative suspects, one of whom threatened to kill the victim and had motive to kill the victim, and both of whom had a pattern of violence against women. Our investigation suggests that the two suspects may have been involved individually or may have been involved together in the death of that beautiful young woman. Once again, through our review, our investigation uncovered that one of the suspects threatened Miss Lee, saying he would make her disappear. He would kill her. We also received information that provided motive for that same alternative suspects. That information was never disclosed to the defendant and is the basis of the Brady violation that the judge has deemed. We also determined in our investigation that one of the alternative suspects was violent towards a woman and forcibly confined her before Adnan Syed's trial. The other suspect has had a history of sexual assault. None of that information was provided to defense counsel by either the original prosecutor or the Attorney General's office, where the original case file still sits. It was through our investigation we also learned that during the original investigation, one of the suspects were improperly cleared by investigators based on faulty polygraph tests and a faulty cell site evidence that was used against Adnan Syed that simply wouldn't stand up in court today. And finally, we found that the previous misconduct of one of the homicide detectives in the Syed's case, a detective that was negatively implicated in my office's first exoneree, Malcolm Bryant, contributed to a wrongful conviction in a separate 1999 murder case. For all of those reasons, my office petitioned the court jointly with Erica Suter from the Office of the Public Defender and asked that Adnan Syed be given a new trial where he is adequately represented and the latest evidence presented in the interests of fairness and justice, which is and has always been the hallmark of my administration as State Attorney for Baltimore City. At this stage, the trial has been set in for a new trial date because we're not yet declaring Adnan Syed is innocent, but we are declaring that in the interest of fairness and justice, he is entitled to a new trial. And because this is an ongoing case, there are limits to what I can say in this matter, but it is imperative that we start the process of securing a new trial with adequate representation for Mr. Syed to ensure that the family of Ms. Hae Min Lee knows with full confidence that the person responsible for her death and the death of their loved one will be held accountable. Ms. Lee's family deserve closure. They deserve justice, and we intend to fight for that. And while this is just one step in a long fight to make sure the legal system in Baltimore is fair and just for all, I want to reiterate to the residents of Baltimore, as I always have done, that so long as I'm at the helm as State Attorney, I will remain committed to ensuring and pursuing justice and equality for all under the law, which includes victims, witnesses, accusers, and the accused. I said this 4 months following the death of Freddie Gray, and I'm saying it 4 months before the end of my term. Justice is always worth the price paid for its pursuit. Thank you. Any questions?
Question. I know in court there was not a lot of detail given about these potential other suspects. How confident are you that these suspects are able to be part of the new trial, accessible,
So I kind of addressed that in my remarks. I cannot, because it's an open and pending matter, I cannot talk about the substance of the case. But I can tell you that we are working with the Baltimore Police Department, and it is an active investigation.
Will that be wrapped up within the 30 days to file a new trial?
So what I can tell you is the investigation is separate and apart from the 30-day mandate. What we are currently waiting for is DNA analysis, and so we are going to try to expedite that. That is with reference to whether or not Adnan's case will be dismissed, a no prost, and we would certify his innocence, or whether or not the case is set in for trial. If the DNA evidence comes back, and I'll just be candid, and it's Adnan Syed, then clearly, there's implication that we have to proceed. That still entitles him to a fair and just trial. But in any event, we're going to wait for the DNA to come back, and we'll make that determination at that stage.
what happens
Would
if
someone
it
like
doesn't come
to
back
speak
in
on
30
behalf
days?
of the family?
Maddie asked you a question. What happens if that DNA testing is not finished in 30 days?
Yeah, what's the plan?
So, I mean, we'll meet that hurdle when it comes, but that's something that we're attempting to expedite.
In that same vein, though, I mean, with the star witness's credibility being impeached and the cell phone data no longer being deemed reliable, is a new trial even possible with the evidence that you have?
So, I mean, at this stage, what we want to do is we feel, again, all of these facts go to the integrity of the conviction, which is problematic. And so it's a matter of, and I don't want to interject my opinion, I can just do it based off of the facts. Once the DNA evidence comes in, it will be much more definitive.
What confidence do you have that these kinds of Brady violations aren't still happening in your office?
So let me be clear, it was in my office. So,
The state's attorney's office.
but yes, I mean, I think we have open discovery. I think that we train our prosecutors, and the mantra and mission and vision of my office, it's very different than what it's been in the past, right? Our mission and vision is justice over convictions. For a very long time, people would measure the success of a prosecutor's office based off of convictions. We don't do that in the city of Baltimore. We go on the basis of justice.
How do you respond to the victim's brother saying he felt blindsided by this and the investigation was going on for a year to get a result?
So no, I wrote what he said down. He basically said he somewhat felt betrayed, and you can understand why, right? I mean, you have some sort of resolution, and you believe that you have closure, and the case comes back up, and it rips a whole new sort of, wound that has healed, and that you think has healed, and so I understand his frustration and his disappointment, but I also understand the importance as the administrator of the criminal justice system to ensure equality and justice and fairness that is entitled to the defendant as well.
That was how this case hit your radar.
This is the last question, guys.
Had it not been for the publicity, would you have gotten to it this fast?
So we were approached by the Office of the Public Defender and Erica Suter, and she'll talk to you. They wanted to come to us, and they came to us and approached us to do, under the JRA, they wanted us to make a modification of the sentence. He still qualifies for a reduction and a modification of his sentence, but once we got the file and we were in possession of it, and we started to look at it, we saw several problematic issues. And so then we began an investigation that went beyond just having a JRA motion in which that conviction would stand. Based off of our conviction integrity unit and reinvestigations of the claims of actual innocence, we actually reinvestigated the matter. Thank you, guys.
Someone else was supposed to talk.
I mean, if it's truly
Probably would have if somebody asked me besides me.
Abby, what do you think the timing is?
What I'm having a friend of mine say.
Hey, Abby. We probably got time. I don't know.
Can't they do it right here while we
Ready set up.
We're set up. Just ask if she can come here and do it right here. You know, like that.
Man, that's bright.
Yeah, here.
That makes no sense.
Okay.
I didn't have another camera. I'd be running. Hey, Mary, don't I try to call somebody else named Martin? They didn't want it. They kept asking the same old questions and the same people.
If anyone's interested, we have a statement on behalf of the family, the Lee family. So my name is Steve Kelly. I'm the victim's rights lawyer. Steve Kelly. I'm the victim's rights lawyer for the Lee family, the family of Hae Min Lee. And I have an official statement on behalf of the family.
Here, real quick. Sorry.
The family is principally interested in justice. For the past 22 years, the world and they have been told that Adnan Syed is the murderer of their daughter and sister, Hae Min Lee. They are disappointed that today's hearing happened so quickly and with virtually no notice, and that the court acted the way it did, and that the prosecutor's office made the recommendation the way that they did. This family is interested in the pursuit of justice. They want to know more than anybody who it was that killed Hae Min Lee. I'm a victim rights attorney. I've been doing this work for 20 years. My sister was murdered, and I was one of the people who helped pass these laws that permit victims to have notice and the right to be present and the right to be heard at hearings like this. The way the state's attorney's office acted in this case is just inexcusable. They knew about this for more than a year. It was clear from their conduct. They absolutely did not want to afford this victim any meaningful opportunity to address this motion. My clients, all they wanted was information. They want the truth to come out. If the truth is that someone else killed their sister, daughter, they want to know that more than anybody. They were shut out of the legal process by the court and the state's attorney's office, and it was inexcusable. It's a violation of Maryland law, and my clients are exploring their options with regard to appeal.
Do you think that it would have changed if they had been able to be here in court today? Do you think that would have changed process?
I think that it could have very well have if they had been informed as to the basis of the motion, which they were never provided with. The judge did not allow me to speak. She invited my client to speak, did not even allow me to advise my client, and she made him talk before he heard any arguments. So he had no idea what the motion was about when he was asked to give a statement. All they want is information, and they deserve that, really. Any responsible prosecutor's office would have sat down with this family and talked to them about this. This prosecutor's office was interested in one result and one result only. The timing, I would say, is very, very suspicious, and there's no rational basis for the timing that I could see, other than, well, we'll leave it to that. But yeah, so the issue is we don't know, because the family was never advised as to what this motion was really truly about. And had they been, then they may well have supported this action. They want the truth. They're interested in the truth, and so they very well may have supported the release of Mr. Syed had they understood the basis. My name is Steve Kelly. I'm with the law firm of Sanford, Heisler, Sharp, based in Baltimore. Kelly, correct.
I'm sorry, apologies if I missed the top of your remarks. What have you heard from Lee's family in reaction to this?
They're deeply disappointed with the result, only because they're disappointed with the process more than the result. They were not given the information as to why the state filed this motion after 20 years of standing by this conviction. So the family just wanted information. They wanted to know why this motion was being filed, what the basis was. We requested in court papers today that the family be given 7 days to come to Baltimore to learn more about this motion and to speak meaningfully on that. The court denied that very reasonable relief. So the family is disappointed with the way they were treated. They're disappointed with the process. They want to, more than anybody, to have a person who killed Heyman Lee brought to justice. And so if that is not Mr. Syed, then they're open to the possibility of anybody else who actually did it being prosecuted. Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself?
All right, hello. My name is Desmond Perry.
And your family friend?
I'm a good, close friend of Adnan. I was incarcerated with him. I've been home now for 4 months. I spent 20 years with Adnan. He's a very good friend of mine. I love him to death. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders to see him released and freed today, knowing that he was innocent the whole time. He's an impeccable human being, just a wonderful person. And hopefully the world will get to see that real soon.
I wondered, spending that time with him these many years, helping him maintain his family.
I know, it was the opposite way around. Adnan helped us. And no one would probably believe this, going through everything that he went through, but he was an assistance to us. When I came into prison, I was 18 years old. Adnan took me under his wing, taught me Islam, taught me Arabic, taught me how to read the Quran. He took care of every individual that came into that prison system. Everybody. He would give clothes and shoes and food to whomever. He would cook for people. This is the type of individual he was. He is, excuse me. But he was to us.
What message do you send to the public about this release or this justice?
The message I would send to the public is there's many more men just like him who are innocent. There are many more men just like him who are innocent, that the justice system did wrong. Just like we saw today, all of the investigation that the prosecutors did to see and to prove that, they had evidence to show that he wasn't the one who committed this crime. So it's many more men just like that, and it's unfortunate the American justice system is the way that it is now.
Anybody else, guys? Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, we gotta get this back to its owner.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. You need help carrying it across? Where you gonna take it?
No, but it's on wheels.
We're wheeling it.
We're gonna
All
wheel
right.
it back.
Appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
So, again, we ain't had nothing to do with them.
I appreciate
so
you.
Y'all had to
Appreciate you.
Thank you. So you ain't
And
moved
we
to go
might take
capture
our
that?
seal off.
You want to pull
My
that tree
son
out
should
a
do
little bit?
Oh, you
Put
should.
y'all's in there.
Just pull it back. There we go.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh.
Nice
I'm not
and fast.
responsible for this. I'm not responsible.